Life as a striker can be summed up by this quote: sometimes in football, you have to score goals. Now let's talk about two players that know how to do just that. Chris Sutton. Jamie Vardy. Known for their aggressive style, with skill and vision to go with it. They can handle the pressure of the big games, or for the chance to make history. There's no question that they're both top level strikers who are proving themselves at the highest level time after time. But we're here to ask the question, if you can only put one in your team, who are you going to take? Let's find out. This is Football Fights. Let's go. Chris Sutton versus Jamie Vardy here on Football Fights on the Bosman Viewing. We're going to break down the careers, talk about each player in detail and find out who you would take on your team. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, but let's kick things off with the legend from Paradise, Chris Sutton. Chris Sutton started his professional career at Norwich City and began playing as a centre-back when he broke into the first team. He was then converted into a striker by his manager and quickly found success in his new position. He was also part of a Norwich team in 1993 which famously knocked Bayern Munich out of the UEFA Cup. He then went on to score 25 Premier League goals that season and began being linked to some of the biggest clubs in the country, including Arsenal and Manchester United. But he chose a move to Blackburn Rovers and became the most expensive player in English football. He settled in at his new club quickly and started scoring the goals just like he was at Norwich, and hit the ground running by scoring 15 Premier League goals in his first year at the club. Consistently being one of the best players in the league at that time, not just with goals but also the grit and determination and his will to win. But what he's best remembered for at Blackburn Rovers is the partnership that he struck up with Alan Shearer. Known as the SAS, Alan Shearer was able to score 34 goals that season, added with Chris Sutton's 15, was a major reason behind Blackburn Rovers being the surprise package in winning the Premier League title. Big money was spent on putting this squad together, but most people still anticipated Manchester United or Arsenal to win the league. After Blackburn's unexpected relegation in 1999, it was time to move on, and it was another big money move, this time to Chelsea. His time in London would prove to be an unhappy one, as he struggled to live up to the price tag and adapt to Chelsea's style of play. He only ended up scoring 3 goals in total for the club, and 2 of them came in a Champions League qualifier. So after a disappointing season at Chelsea and after only spending 1 year at the club, it was time to move on again, this time to Scottish giants Celtic. He quickly regained his confidence in Scotland and got his goal scoring touch back again, even scoring the winner in his league debut. He became a fan's favourite quickly, not just for the goals he scored but also the partnership he struck up with their top player, Henrik Larsson. This would prove to be a major component in the club's success in winning trophies over the next few years. He also began to get a reputation for his performances in the Old Firm games, scoring 2 goals in a dramatic 6-2 victory and also going on to hold the record for the quickest goal ever scored in an Old Firm clash. But some of his most memorable performances came in European competitions, both the Champions League and the UEFA Cup, and the club even managed to get to the UEFA Cup final, which unfortunately ended in defeat. His time at Celtic would prove to be very successful, winning multiple titles and also multiple Scottish Cups, along with some of the players he played with like John Hartson, Craig Bellamy, and of course everyone remembers the partnership he had with Henrik Larsson. There's no doubt he had a successful period with Celtic. Having spent 6 years at the club, he was allowed to move on a free transfer and he joined Premier League club Birmingham City. Joining along with some other high profile players at the time who were on reported high wages, injuries restricted him to just 11 appearances and scoring once in a derby against Aston Villa, and upon the relegation he was allowed to leave. To then sign for the rivals Aston Villa and link up with his former boss Martin O'Neill. It was during his time at this club that he suffered a serious eye injury and he had to make a decision on his career, and he came to the tough conclusion to retire. So that was our breakdown of Chris Sutton. Now let's switch it up and start talking about his rival in the video, which is Jamie Vardy. He started his senior career with Stocksbridge Park Steels, breaking into the first team in 2007 and spending 3 seasons with the club. He made a number of impressive displays and consistently scored goals, which began to get the interest of a lot of Football League teams. One of which was Halifax Town, who signed him in June 2010 and went on to score in his debut and also becoming the top goalscorer for the club in his first season scoring 25 goals from 37 appearances. He impressed so much during that first year, which included multiple hat-tricks, he was actually voted Players' Player of the Season. Having helped the club win their league title, and after just over a year it was time to move on, and he signed for Fleetwood Town. If there was any hesitation from Vardy on this move to see if he could be successful in the conference, it didn't show. He scored 31 league goals in his first season and also won Player of the Year award as they won the division. This was the first time in the club's history they'd ever been promoted to the Football League, and a big reason for that was the goals scored by Vardy. Bigger clubs were starting to take notice and they could see the raw talent that Vardy had. Blackpool even had a bid rejected halfway through the season. But that wouldn't be the last bid they get, and Leicester City would step in with £1 million, a non-league record, for his signature. The club were in the Championship at the time, and Vardy suffered a loss of form in his first season, so much so he was getting criticism from the fans. But the coaches and management staff convinced him to push through, and I don't think anyone could have anticipated what would happen next. Vardy would finish the following season with 16 goals and help Leicester get promoted to the Premier League, and also being voted Leicester's Player of the Season. And from this point he would just go from strength to strength, not being fazed by the teams or players he was up against. Sometimes some of the best in Europe, it didn't stop him. He would also go on to form a deadly partnership with Riyad Mahrez, both of them consistently scoring goals, and with assists for each other, they were easily some of the best players in the league at this time. He was also now starting to get recognised as one of the deadliest strikers in world football, with the goals he was scoring and the awards that he was winning. He would also go on to score in 11 consecutive Premier League matches, breaking Ruud van Nistelrooy's record, and ended up being voted Premier League Player of the Season. So as much as I'm sure he enjoys having a Guinness World Record, the main prize was still ahead, something that most people could never have predicted. He was a major part of the Leicester City team that won the Premier League title in 2015-2016. Thanks to his performances and the goals that he scored, he was a major factor behind this success. This also led the team to playing in the UEFA Champions League, and he actually managed to do well, getting to the quarter-final, unfortunately losing to Atletico Madrid. So seemingly Vardy has seen nothing but success during his time in the Premier League, winning the Golden Boot and also recently winning an award for scoring 100 Premier League goals, and even getting awards from the Blue Van Man along the way. Having recently turned 33, there doesn't seem to be any slowing down for Jamie Vardy, still consistently scoring goals even after the lockdown, regaining his form. So don't be surprised if you see more goal scoring records being broken by this man. So now let's break down and compare the international careers for both these strikers. Chris Sutton's form with Blackburn won him an England cap in November 1997 when he played against Cameroon, but unfortunately was left out of the World Cup squad at that time. He was then asked to play for the England B team, which Sutton refused to do, and at which point his England career was over, never selected for the international team again. Jamie Vardy burst onto the international scene in June 2015 and was also selected for two major tournaments at Euro 2016 and the 2018 World Cup. He would always put in strong performances for his country and impressive displays, and even aiming to grab 7 international goals. Unfortunately for Vardy, he was always competing against someone for a starting point, whether it's Harry Kane or Wayne Rooney, he was always up against it to be the number 1 striker for England. But after being selected for 2 major tournaments, in August 2018 Vardy stepped aside from the England national team, telling the coach only to be selected if there's a major injury crisis. Now that we've discussed their careers, let's see what their fellow pros have to say about them. Chris Sutton was the best partner I ever had, a big guy with vision who knew how to play the game. Henrik Larsson. In terms of making the partnership work, we sorta just clicked and hit it off. Instantly we were the SAS. Alan Shearer. If Chris Sutton is not here at the start of next season, neither will I be. Robert Chase. If Larsson and Shearer think you're good, you're doing something right. At present, you have to see Jamie Vardy as one of the leading strikers in world football. Brendan Rodgers. He is a forward who I think 95% of teams would love to have within their pool of strikers. Gary Neville. Well done Vardy, you're number 1 now and you deserve it. Ruud van Nistelrooy. That is some high praise for some great characters in the game. So now we know what the pros think, let's break down and compare their style of play. Chris Sutton could be described as your typical target man, always willing to get in about the play, harass the defenders and also make a nuisance of himself any way he could. Due to his stature and height, his heading ability was also a big part of his game, whether that's in defence or up front, and it was also a big reason behind getting so many headed goals in his career. His aggressive style of play was also something he was known for, even though at moments he did go too far. But a big part of his career was his set-up play for his strike partner. Whether it's Henrik Larsson or Alan Shearer, he was one of the main reasons behind them getting so many goals during their time together. On the other hand, Jamie Vardy's style of play could be summed up with one word: relentless. His work rate, his direct approach, his running, getting in behind defenders is the main reason why he's able to score so many goals. Even though he may not have the stature or build of someone like Chris Sutton, this has never stopped him getting stuck into players when it's needed. And this style of play has proved very successful over the past few years. So before making the final choice, let's recap each player's career. Chris Sutton made 408 club appearances, winning 1 international cap, scoring 148 goals and winning 9 major trophies. Jamie Vardy has so far made 350 club appearances, winning 26 international caps, scoring 171 career goals and winning 2 major trophies. Now we get to the most difficult part. You need a striker for your team and you can only take one. Who do you pick? Chris Sutton or Jamie Vardy? For me, I want a forward that's versatile, has controlled aggression and will consistently score goals even under pressure in the big games. So it could only be one man. Having a party with Jamie Vardy. When I put my team together, I want a forward that can play in different systems, harass defenders, but most importantly, get me goals. So today's winner of Football Fights is Jamie Vardy. Do you agree with this choice or would you have picked Chris Sutton? Let us know in the comment section, give us your feedback. Again, this is the Bosman Viewing. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and I'll see you on the next one.